Good morning to one and all. Today my session is the introduction to artificial intelligence and machine learning. So in this session, my lecture outline is that first we have to discuss what is intelligence, and we have to compare the human intelligence with machine intelligence. Next, we have to discuss the definition and evolution of the AI and why the sudden hype of the artificial intelligence and machine learning. Then we can come to the definition of the machine learning and deep learning and what is the jargon of AI, ML and deep learning, types of machine learning algorithm and what are the steps to develop the machine learning model and what are the real life use cases. Then after we have to ask the question answer round. So first we can start with the intelligence. So when we have to talk about the intelligence, then we have to think about the natural intelligence or human intelligence. So a general mental ability can be involved the ability to reason. We have say to solve the problem, think abstractly or comprehend the idea and language. So we can enumerate the list of elements that is intelligent must be able to perform apply the common sense, that is apply intuitions, that we have to reach emotion states and achieve the self-awareness. But when we have to compare the human intelligence and how the human should be work, and human is a so complex minds that we have to say that it cannot be the science that even then we cannot identify what is the fault tolerance in the human mind. So how do we learn by the experience? We have to come first, we discuss about the human brain. So basically the neurons in a human brain divided into the three segments, that is a dendritic zone, axon and telodendritic zones. So here, when we have to talk about this one, about the neurons mainly divide into the three zones, and this is the input zone, and what is we are interested to understanding how the signals in neuron is transmitted. So first of all, we can discuss about the cell body or dendritic zones. This is in the axon, and which receive the synaptic input from the neurons, and the axon will be excitation of the distant sites, and the transmit branch is the axon that is called as a telodendritic, and which is the terminate the excitation via the synapse onto the other neurons. Why we have to discuss this human brain diagram? The concern is that based on this human based diagram, we have to draw the neural networks. This is the how do we learn from the experience. So our brain and associated nervous systems is mainly composed on the dependent on the we can call it as these neurons are understanding the various sense, or we can call it as experience. So as per the Alan Turing, that was the mathematician, and the success of AI machine should be based on how correctly it mimics a human brain response. So however, the truth is that the human brain itself is still a mystery of the scientist, because whenever we have to design an artificial neural network, it is work for a particular application. But human brain, if suppose you are sit in here and you are thought something else, no one can be predict. So we have to come to the things that the human brain has been dedicated section in the brain for various sense. That is, one is the auditory cortex, another is the somatosensory cortex. In case of the auditory cortex, when we have to talk about, it is nothing but it is the sense of the organs and how you can, if suppose whenever we can sense the organ, it is used the somatosensory cortex. And in case of the auditory cortex, when we have to see the in case of the responsible for the hearing. So now these organs we have to compare with the human brain. That is we have first used the concrete experience, and concrete experience is nothing but the learning, and that learning can be possible with the sensory and post sensory organs. So sensory and post sensory, in which we have to perform the concrete experience, and after that we have to thinking process, it is moved to the reflexive observation. And that diagram we have to taken from the University of the Virginia. And after that we have to move to the abstract hypothesis. So based on the certain observation, we have to find the abstract hypothesis. And based on this abstract hypothesis, we can move to the active testing. So now, when we can say when the neurons experience of such sense and the neurons network transmits those impulse to that particular area of our brain that is dedicated to the sense, and according to a response is generated from the brain of our body react accordingly. So for instance, we can give the one example. If you touch a hot object and your brain tells our body to generate the response to pulling your hand away from the substance. And remember that event, next time when you see the particular object, again, your brain will be advised you not to touch it. So what type of we have to thinking adopting, and based on the thinking, you can find the abstract hypothesis. So these are the experience, we can say the experience is that hot or cold experience, if the bright light or the, we can say the too much dark or too much bright light. So these experience are the part of the concrete experience. They are generated from the sensory and push sensory organs. Reflective observation is the part of the thinkings, and abstract hypothesis, we can refine that and we can predict the result. So now this is the structure of the brain. Now we have to compare, this is a natural intelligence. Now how our brain can be thinking, we have to compare the same diagram with the concrete experience. Here the experience by the learning, and experience by the learning, here in the case of machine learning, we have to use the historical data, and historical data in which we can say the learn from the label data. After learn from the label data, second step is that cycle is that a reflexive observation. In a reflexive observation, we can extracting pattern from the given training example. So that is nothing but the thinkings of the particular patterns like that in a human brain. Next is the abstract hypothesis, is the predicting the output based on the pattern. And then active testing is nothing but we have to compare the actual output with the desired output. What is the desired output we have to generate and what is the actual output. So that is the how do machine learn, optimize and predict. So now we can come to the definition and evolution of the AI. When we can come to the definition of the AI, the artificial intelligence is the branch of computer science which is deal with the simulation and intelligent behavior in a computer. So that is the definition from the Russell and Novrings. That is the definition of AI, that when we have to design a machine which is think as a humanly, the think humanly means that the new effort to make the computer thinks like a machine with a mind. Whether we have to create a one robot and the robot should be work according to the human, give the instruction, and they have to thinking as per the human, then we should say it is the perfectly working for the artificial intelligence. Acting humanly, that is the art of creating the machine that perform the function that require the intelligent when same it is performed by the people. So these are the verticals that we have to thought process of the reasoning, and another is the behavior. When we can talk about the rationality, we can think rationally. So the mental of faculties through the use of computational model and also act rationally. So this is the whole definition as per the described by the Russell and Novring. So when a machine should be called as a artificial intelligence enable, so that is they can contain the 4 parameter: think humanly, act humanly, think rationally and act rationally. Now we can come to the physical symbol system hypothesis. Physical symbol system hypothesis of artificial intelligence, and it is formulated by the Simon, and that is a general intelligent actions. A physical symbol system is that it is consist of the symbols or pattern and which are combinable into the expression. So like that we have to take the certain propositional and predicate logics based on the whenever we have to transfer the any sentence into the form of mathematical model and mathematical expressions, we have to use the physical symbol system. A physical symbol system hypothesis states that the PSS has a necessary and sufficient means of the intelligent actions. So like that we have to use the rule of inference. Suppose the some hypothesis we have to design and find the certain conclusion, and conclusion is valid, then we can say our hypothesis is right. A computer is a physical system symbols hypothesis. If it is a hypothesis is true, then it should be possible that the program maybe it produce the intelligent behavior or intelligent action. And that is the goal of the artificial intelligence. But if the hypothesis is not true, whatever the assumptions you have to create to generate the conclusion and assumption was false, then what are the consequences of the AI? So it will not give the accurate results. So now we can come to the Alan Turing test. In 1915, the Alan Turing test was for the emission of the game. And in this diagram, you have to show the C is a tester, A is a machine, and B is a human. So Alan Turing devised the test for the intelligent, which is called as a imitation game. And they can ask the question of the two entities. One is the machine, another is the human. And both, if you can tell which of the entities is a human and which of is the computer program, then you are fooled, and we should therefore we can consider the machine is an intelligent or computer is an intelligent. But now the limitation of the Alan Turing was that for the special character symbols, it is not perform well and it is not generate the intelligent actions. Now we can come to the part of the evolution of the artificial intelligence. In the evolution of the artificial intelligence, there is three booms. First boom is the GoFAI, that is the meaning of the good old-fashioned artificial intelligence. In this era, that is a 1952 in between of 1970, that is a good old-fashioned artificial intelligence. Here we have to, we must consider that the block world problem, state space search, heuristic search, and the general problem solver for the checkers program. And here we have to use some expression we can represent in the form of predicate and propositional logic. So they can represent the fact in the form of mathematical notation. So that was the early era of the artificial intelligence. Now, the boom 2 was the expert system. So in that boom expert system, we was used the concept of the knowledge engineering, and in that knowledge engineering, we have to use the rule-based engineering. Based on the propositional and predicate logic, we have to design a certain rule, and we can, based on the certain rule, we can find the conclusion, and we should say like that it is the machine should be work as a intelligent enough. So the type of expert system is the fourth type of expert system. Or we have to use the rule-based expert system, fuzzy expert system, neural expert system, and neuro-fuzzy expert system. Here we have to use the concept of in this era of 1970 to 1980, the MICINE, that is the diagnosis of the particular problems. We have to also diagnosis in this particular time of 10 years, and here we introduce the programming language as the Lisp and the Prolog. That is a logic-based programming language was developed in this tenure of 1970 to 1980. After the boom 3, that are come from the machine learning. And here in this third boom, we have to use the social excitation and concern success of the AlphaGo. So that is the AlphaGo is nothing but we can say it is an artificial intelligence agent, and that is specialized to play Go, and it is a Chinese strategy, that is a board game against the human competitors. So AlphaGo is a Google DeepMind project. Again, we have to, in that 90 onwards, we have to evolution of the deep learning, automation vehicles, automation weapons, and AI for the social goods. Now here, there's a 2 points we have to consider remaining, that is a winter 1 and winter 2. So when the AI research is not right now it is going on, it is the research will be started, and research already started on the year 1950. But in the winter 1 and winter 2, that was some government funding is stopped due to some criticism of in the paper that the AI was not good. So that was the time in a winter 1 and winter 2. The timeline, as per the evaluation, In 1915, the Alan Turing developed the Turing test that we have to discuss, and AI accepted as the field of the checkers program using machine learning. AI winter in 1970 to 90, that is a Marvin books and Lighthill report the highlighted the limitation of the failure of the AI and resulting in research budget cuts by the government. In 1990 to 2000, we have to success in the case of speech recognition, medical diagnosis, and robotics. Deep Blue chess system, that is a beat world chess champion Garry Kasparov, and Google search engine based on the AI. Then followed by the year 2006 to 10, rise of deep learning and various competition on visual recognition on ImageNet database. And in 2012 to present, the computer vision algorithm can now describe pictures and language translation and AlphaGo. And then we have to use the timeline, the digitization, when we have to talk about the digitization, and which leads the larger data set that help the machine learn more about their uses. Another is the cheaper storage, where we can say previously we have to use the large, the storage capacity is so costly, so which help to store the database that were earlier becomes a problem for the physical storage and all around the world. But whenever we have to move towards the 2012 to present, the storage is also cheaper. Computational power, which help to perform the million of computation in split a second. This allowing a complex algorithms, and it were only restricted to the scientist hypothesis and the research paper to be implemented particularly for the result evaluated. So that is the understanding necessary that help to push the advancement in the artificial intelligence and machine learning. So why the sudden hype? So what are the advantages of this era of the influence of the advancement of the AI? It is due to the larger data set, because the volume of data set is increasing day by day, computational advancement and the complex algorithm. So in this diagram you have to show in 1917 we have to use the mainframe. In 1918 it is a mini computer. In 1919 it is a PC, then desktop, and we have to talk about 2020, the data is the tens of billions of units. So the exponentially the data is increasing, and we have to introduce the new concept of the Internet of Things, and we can also use the intelligent Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, augmented realities, and automations. So now that is the way we have to change the concept of the, and we have to utilize the more and more concept in the towards the machine learning and AI. So that is the necessity and influencers, that is the volume of the data collected growing day by day. So that is the need for the machine learning. Data production will be 80 times greater in 2002 than in the 2010. And every day we have to 2.5 quintillion bytes of data are created, with 90% of the world data created in the past 2 years. So whenever the more and more historical data are there, so we have to require, and based on this historical data, we can predict the results. That is our ultimate aim. So in a machine learning, so very little data will ever be looked at the humans, and data is cheap and abundant, and knowledge discovery is needed. So that is the machine learning technique in which the computer, which is learned from the past data to obtain insight to help the knowledge discovery. So it is also used for in the case of classification. Later on we have to discuss in the machine learning techniques. So what is the use of the historical data? Or we can say, give one example when we have to give the reservation, Indian reservation system, and we automatically we have to, if suppose the waiting list is that 10 to and 12, then we will identify that it may be guessed that you have to clear the waiting list clear. So how it will be identified based on the historical data? They can give the response, no, maybe chance 80% of chance is there, you can clear the seats. So there are a lot of real-time application are there that we have to discuss later on after completing the basic concept of the AI and machine learning. So now the next is the definition of the machine learning and the deep learning. So before starting to the machine learning, the basically machine learning is that we have to work the historical data. And before I would like to also say something the machine learning is a subset of the artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence is a larger domain. Out of that, the subdomain is the machine learning. So machine learning is a subset of AI, or we can talk about a particular car of a LXI model. We can talk as a AI. Then for the higher version VXI model, it will be treated as a machine learning. Like that, if we advancement of the AI, it is part as a machine learning. So machine learning is the subfield of the computer science that gives the computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. So that is the definition of the Tom Michaels. The computer program is said to learn from an experience E with respect to the some task T and the some performance measure P. So if we can call it about if it is a performance on T as measured by P, improved by the experience E. So that is the definition of Tom Michael. We have to just discuss it here in this diagram. That is, a T is a task we can measure with the performance P, and performance is improved based on the experience. Based on the experience means based on the larger number of historical data are there, we can give them the better and better results. So if suppose a task is measured with the performance and performance is improved with the help of larger number of data set, larger number of experience, and with the help of experience we have to process the task. Next, we have to discuss what is a general task. What is the meaning of the task? The task is that we have to use the classification technique, regression, machine translations, perform. These are the tasks. What is the performance? Performance is nothing but when we have to depend on the performance measure, depend on the type of the problems. So example, we can find the accuracy, error, performance measure in the data set, which is called the test data. So that is different from the data set used from the algorithm. Now the experience, what do you mean by the experience? Experience is that the algorithm that term as a supervised and unsupervised on the experience, and they are allowed to have on the database. So that is my prospective definition of the machine learning. Now we can come to the point, what is the difference between the traditional programming versus machine learning? So the traditional programming, we design an algorithm which give the set of instruction, means input, and we can desired output, get the desired output, and it is called the historical data. The system will be learned. System learn the trends of the data by applying the some probability, some statistical analysis, and so it can be predict the result for the future input. So that is the difference between the traditional and machine learning. In a traditional, we can give the set of instruction, input, and get the desired output. But in case of machine learning, we both input and its corresponding output is given, and the system automatically learn the trends of the data by applying the some mathematics and predicts the results. So it is the diagram when we have to say the data which is inputs and programs, and traditional program we have to generate the output. But in a machine learning, that is input data and output data are there based on the experience, based on the historical data, we have to generate the certain predictive model or a program. So now, how does the approach different for an engineers? So how a software developer create a solution using the classical programming? We have to develop an algorithm, implement algorithm in a code and uses. So that is nothing but the input parameter, implement algorithm and result generated. But the data engineer or a data science, how to solution for the machine learning? So here, that is the data collection and preparation. So that is the database. We can collect the data from the online, or we can also collect the data from the online. Online data means for Facebook or Twitter, we can collect the online data collection, or for the offline data collection. Now, The second step is that we can experimenting with a different algorithm to build the better model. So that is we have to take the lot of the data, we have to use the machine learning algorithm, and we have to generate the ML model. So usage is nothing but the input parameter, ML model, and then results. So now concern is that what are the challenges in the traditional programming? So when we have to predict the something, we need to use an algorithm. And with a variety of input parameter, in case of the prediction of the exchange rate, and it is a mandatory to add the such detail like the yesterday rate. So that is external and internal economic change in the country, that is issue of the currency, and that cannot be possible by the traditional programming. So stock market analysis, it is not possible in the traditional programming, and some of the way we can say these are the challenges in the traditional programming. So that's why we can move towards the machine learning approach. So now we can come to the deep learning. The deep learning is a set of algorithm in a machine learning that is again attempt to learn a multiple levels corresponding to the different level of abstraction using the neural networks. So deep learning is again a subset of the machine learning, and machine learning is a subset of the artificial intelligence. So in the deep learning, when we have to talk about the image processing, and we have to take the one image, and we can every epoch, and we have to take the new data, and we can find out the very fine-tuned parameters. Later on, we have to discuss in the what is a fine-tuned parameters. So that multiple level we have to abstraction, it is called the deep learning. It is a more fine of the machine learning. So the level in the learned statistical method, we have to corresponding to distinct level of the concept, and where the higher concept are defined from the lower level one. And some low level concept we can also define from the higher level one. It is the part of the deep learning. In the deep learning, we have to discuss about the convolutional neural networks and the neural network with the image processing. So the next one we have to discuss about the jargons. What is the AI, ML, and deep learning? So artificial intelligence, as we have to discuss, it is a technique that computer to mimic the human intelligence, and using the based on the propositional and predicate logic, use the rule of inference, and based on the rule of inference you can generate the certain conclusion. Here we can use the knowledge based system where the different type of expert system, fuzzy, neuro fuzzy systems. We have also talked about the state space search, heuristic search. These all are the part of the artificial intelligence. In the case of machine learning, is a subset of the artificial intelligence, which is include the abstract statistical method, where we have to, based on the historical data, based on the experience, we have to predict the future input. Whether we want to predict the weather forecasting, we have to use the machine learning tool in which we have to use the hidden Markov models. Whether we want to predict some house prices, whether we want to predict the CO2 emission in the car, these all are the techniques which we have to perform stock market analysis. We have to use the machine learning techniques. So in the deep learning, it is again subset of the machine learning, and which is composed the algorithm that permit the software to train itself and perform the task, like the speech and image recognition by exposing the multi-layered neural network in the vast amount of the data. So that is the difference between the AI, ML, and DL. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning, and machine learning is a subset of the AI. Now, again, in this diagram, we have to introduce one more term, which is called as a data science. So I would like to say that deep learning, again, data science is a subset of the deep learning. And in the data science, we have to use the two terms. One is the predictive analytics, and another is the descriptive analytics. And one more term is there, and which is called as a prospective analysis. So I have to one by one we can describe the term. In the case of descriptive analysis, we have to help to understand that is something happened in the past. Whenever something happened in the past, we can analyze it, we can use the descriptive analytics. In a predictive analysis, we can predict what is most likely to happen in a future. So that is called as a predictive analysis. And a prospective analytics recommends action that you can take to those affect after the outcome. So that is called as a prospective analysis. So these all are the under category of the data science. So next we have come to the types of the learning. The learning basically divided into the three part in the machine learning. We have to use the three techniques. One is the supervised machine learning, unsupervised, and third is the reinforcement learning. And we have to come to the point of the what is the supervised learning, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. Supervised learning is that the data with label, and that is the input and output is mapping. The supervised learning best example is that the learning with the help of a teacher. So example is that the learning process of a small child. So child does not know how to read and write, and their each and every action is supervised by the teachers. So in the case of artificial neural networks, each input vector requires a corresponding target vector, and which represents the desired output. So the input vector along with the target vector, which is called as a training pair, and the input vector results the output vectors, and actual output vector which is composed by the desired output vector. And if the actual output is not compared with the desired output, then the error should be generated. And error is nothing but we can assigning the weight with the help of learning rate. We can adjust the learning rate, and until and unless we can find the actual output with the desired output. So that is the working of the supervised machine learning. In case of the unsupervised machine learning, the data without the label, and it is the learning is performed without the help of the teacher. We can give the real life example. Whenever the fish swim in the ocean, no one guide her how to swim. So there is no exact output is there. They automatically have to generate a pattern. And if suppose the one child born, it automatically cry. No one guide him or her how to cry. So that is the part of the unsupervised learning. So in case of unsupervised learning, the training process, network receives the input pattern and organize it in the form of cluster. And we have to observe that feedback is applied from the environment, that output should be whether they are correct or not. We have to justify the network itself will be discovered, so that the pattern and regulatory features and categorize the input data and the relation of the input data over the output. So we can give the exact cluster or form to discover the similarities and dissimilarities, so called as a self-organizing. So we have to give the one example of the Amazon. In an Amazon warehouse, where all the mobile, we have to assume that for all the brand mobiles should become in a warehouse, and suppose one mobile we want to retrieve from the particular brand, so it will be have to store in the form of cluster, and we can retrieve the information. So that is the part is called as a unsupervised learning. So there is no exact output. We have to create a cluster and self-organized way we have to design. So this is the part of the unsupervised learning. Now the next we have to come from the reinforcement learning. In the reinforcement learning, the agents are trained on reward and punishment mechanism. The agent is rewarded for the correct move and punished from the wrong move. So that is it is a type of the supervised learning. And if suppose the exact output is not generated, then again the error should be generated, reinforcement signal is generated and rectified with the help of learning rate. So now the concern is that where we have to use this algorithm. In a supervised algorithm, we have to use for the classification. Unsupervised use we have to use for the clusterings, and reinforcement learning is used when we have to use the automatic parking vehicles. In automatic parking vehicles, or we can say in the stock market analysis, we have to use the type of the reinforcement learning. So supervised learning uses. So the prediction, supervised machine learning, as we have to discuss the definition and what is the supervised learning and what are the uses of the supervised learning. First use is that the prediction of the future cases. Prediction of the future cases means use the rule to predict the outcome of the future input And as we have to give the many example in the future, we can find in a medical diagnosis whether we can find it is a benign or malignant cell. Based on the historical data sets, we can predict now the particular patient ID with so and so characteristics, and we have to predict that is a chance of the tumors or breast cancer or not. So that is the prediction of the future cases. Prediction for the weather forecasting, prediction for the IRCT reservation. So these all are the prediction we have to perform with the supervised learning. Knowledge extractions, the rule is easy to understand. Compression, the rule is a simpler than the data it explained. And outlier detection. The outlier detection is that there's a some of the, we have to find the regression line and some of the point which are not included into our algorithm, so that are called as an outlier detection. So exceptions that are not covered by the rule, that is called the fraud. So we have to use as an outlier detection is also possible in the case of supervised machine learning we have to use. It is the supervised machine learning model where that is a label data and the text data or an image. We can use the feature vectors. We can find the certain features, certain attributes, certain values, and we have to apply the machine learning algorithm. And when we have to apply the machine learning algorithm, we can generate the predictive model. And later on, we have to discuss how we can analyze we can design the machine learning model after we can evaluate based on the training and testing data set. And then we have to find the expected label. Unsupervised machine learning, that is a learning normally happen, but there is a no output. When we have to create the self-organizing, we have to create the self-organizing means we have to create a certain cluster. There is input is there, and based on the certain mechanisms of the we can find the output. So the clustering is nothing but the group of similar instance. And the example of this unsupervised learning is the customer segmentation, image compressions for the color quantization, and bioinformatics. Difference between the supervised and unsupervised machine learning. And we have to differentiate between the certain parameter. In input data, supervised machine learning uses known and labeled data, and unsupervised uses unknown data as an input. In computational complexity, supervised machine learning is a very complex, unsupervised is a less computational complexity. In real-time perspective, the supervised is used offline analysis, but in unsupervised uses real-time analysis of data. A number of classes are known in supervised, but in the unsupervised, the number of classes are not known. Accuracy of the results, whenever we have to find the input and output, the accurate and reliable results should be generated in case of supervised machine learning, and moderate, accurate, and reliable results generated in case of unsupervised learning. Now we can next come to the reinforcement learning. The reinforcement learning agents are trained on a reward and action mechanism. The agent is rewarded for the correct moves and actions for the wrong move. So here that in the diagram you can show in the environment we have to reward for the agent, and if suppose the wrong move, the action can be taken. So where we have to apply this state of the reinforcement learning concept. So the application is that in case of the self-driving car, in industry automation, trading and finance, in a natural language processing, when we have to identify the text from the different language, news recommendation. In the news recommendation, we have to use the content-based recommendation, collaborative filtering. We have used the part of the reinforcement learning in the case of healthcare and robotics manipulations and gaming problems. So here we can use the term as an agent. So here the agent meaning is that the intelligent agent. So what is the meaning of intelligent agent? The intelligent agent is a program that can make decision on perform a service based on its environment. What the environment is there, and based on the environment it will be take the decision, the user input and the experience. So this program can be used for the autonomously gather the information on a regular and program schedule or when prompted by the user in the real-time scenario. So that is the part of the reinforcement learning. So the next part we have to discuss, that is the machine learning algorithms. So here we have to discuss the supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning algorithm. What are the algorithms we have to use in the case of machine learning? So in this tree structure diagram, the machine learning basically broadly classified into the three categories. One is the supervised machine learning, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. In a supervised machine learning, we have to discuss the point of the uh, classification and regression. And in a classification regression, we have to carry it out with the help of support vector machine, neural network, or a Bayesian networks, or Naive-based classifier. There are a lot of algorithms we have to use for the classification and regression. In case of unsupervised learning, we have to use the clustering, and in clustering, it is a k-means clustering, Gaussian mixture model, and mixture models. So in the case of reinforcement learning, we have to use the decision making, that is a algorithm we have to use for the Q learning, R learning, and TD learning. So here one by one we have to discuss. In the supervised learning, we have to first discuss the classification problem. Classification is and regression both are the supervised machine learning, and in classification we have to generate the discrete value. But in case of regression, we have to generate the function as a continuous value. So a classification technique can be used for the predicting of the class of the category for a case. For example, we have to discuss in the later on example, in a medical diagnosis, we have to identify whether the cell is benign or the malignant, or whether or not the customer is churned. So commonly used method for the classification is that Naive-based decision tree, k nearest neighbor, neural networks, and support vector machine. The support vector machine fundamentally we have to, and neural network we have to discuss in the different sessions. So now this is the machine learning application, is a part of the classification, and this is a human cell that is a sample extracted from the we can call it as a patient, and if the cell have a certain characteristics. So in context of the benign tumor, a malignant tumor is a tumor that may be invade of the surrounding tissues or spread around the body. And it is diagnosis, its early might to be a key for the patient's survival. So one could easily presume only the doctor with a lot of year of experience could diagnose the tumor and say if the patient is developing the cancer or not. So what imaging that we have to use the large data sets, and we adopt the data set which is containing that is the characteristics of the thousands of the sample extracted from the patient who were believed that is a risk for developing the cancer. As we have told earlier, the machine learning is basically the explicit program, and it is first of all, if more and more historical data are there, the prediction is more and more accurate. So here we can analyze the original data showed by the many characteristics, and other patient it gives the early indication of whether the new samples might be benign or the malignant. And you should have to clean your data and select the proper algorithm for building the prediction model, and train the model for understand the pattern for the benign or malignant cells with the data. And once the model is trained and going through the data iteratively, it can be used to predict your new or unknown cell with rather higher accuracy. So here you can show these all are the historical data are there, and we have to take the one new data set with the same certain attributes we can passing, and we can predict the class whether it is a class is a benign or malignant. It is a type of binary classification because it is divided into the two parts. One is the benign and another is the malignant. We can give the more example for the multi-class classifier where more than two classifier also existing, but that is the application for only for the binary classification. So how the machine learning work? So prior to machine learning, each image would be transferred into the vector space or a vector of features. So it is a feature of vectors. We have to transfer the image. Then traditionally we had to write down the sum rules. And the sum rule is that if F1 yes and F2 is true, then bird. Like that we have to jot down the certain set of rules. Now, this is the, we can say, when we have to, and we can identify the particularly the image of the animal, whether it is a dog, whether it is a cat, whether it is a bird, or whether it is a fish. So we get computer intelligent to detect the animal, but it was failure because in every set of rule we have to generate it, it should not be work. So how machine learning work? We have to take the first image and we can use the feature extraction, then we can design the machine learning model. It is a part of the neural network where a number of hidden layers are there. And after the machine learning model, we can predict the particular image. So machine learning inspired the human learning process, which iteratively learn from the data and allow computer to hidden insight. And that is the way of the in which we have to machine learning work with the help of machine learning model. So now, here, that is the example of the classification. Another classification example is that the credit scorings. So it is in the case of the graph between the x-axis and y-axis. In x-axis, it is the income, and y-axis is the saving. And we have to draw the graph here. That circle indicates from the red line, and some of the low risk, it is indicated by the plus. So the differentiate between the low risk and high risk customer from their income and saving. So how we can discriminate? We have to use the theta, that is the theta value, and the income is greater than theta 1 and saving is also greater than theta 2, then it is a low risk, otherwise it is a high risk. We can give one example of this example credit scorecard. If suppose one person went for the bank and they can ask for the loan, so bank certainly asks the what is the pay scale, and you can give me the form 20 and form 15. So and they can analyze whether he will be repay or not. So they can be decided by the how much properties are there. So based on the certain attributes, based on the certain parameter, we have to decide whether the particular person is giving eligible for the loan or not. So that discrimination we have to carry out with the help of classification. If income is greater than particular theta 1 and saving is greater than theta 2, then it is a low risk for credit score. Otherwise, it is a high risk. So it is also part of the application of the classification. Another is the classification application is the pattern recognition, face recognition, that is the pose, and we can make up hairstyles, and speech recognition, that is a temporal dependency, use of a dictionary or a syntax of language, sensor fusions, combine multiple modality, visual, lip image, lips movement, medical diagnosis from the symptoms of the illness or not. These are the application of the classification under the supervised machine learning. Now, the next we have to come the part of the regression. Regression is also part of the supervised machine learning, and in the regression we can estimate the techniques for predicting continuous value. So I think you have to remember, in case of classification we have to predict the discrete value. In case of regression we have to predicting a continuous value. So in this diagram you have to show that this is the line for the linear regression, and the linear regression line is the y equal to mx plus c, and all the data point which is indicate as a blue line which is near the line, and some of the points which are far away from the line which are called as an outlier. So we can find the outlier detection, and these are the predicting outcome variable for the given input. So we have to use the algorithm for the ordinary least square method, partial least square, logistic regression, stepwise regression, support vector regression, and neural network regression. So here in the case of regression techniques, the example is that we have also find the CO2 emission in a car, we can predicting the house price. But again, the regression analysis is the statistical tool that gives us the ability to estimate the mathematical relationship between the dependent variable and an independent variable. Now my question is that what do you know about the dependent and independent variables? So dependent variable, which we usually have to denote it by the y, and independent variable is denoted by the x. So independent variable is the predicting the output, and dependent variable may be in a simple linear regression, it is a one dependent variables, or if suppose multilinear regression, we have to use the multiple linear regression. So dependent variable is the variable for which we want to make the prediction. So primary goals of the quantity analysis is to use the current information about the phenomena to predict the future behavior. So that is the concern of the linear regression. And we have to talk about the simple linear regression. It is the equation from the straight line. And I have to discuss in the previous, that is the equation of y equal to mx plus c, where this point I have to just show the so it is the vertical lines. It is the vertical is called as a bias, which we have to indicate for the coefficient c, and the slope is the m, and y and x are the parameters we have to discuss. X is a dependent variable and y is a independent variable. So any straight line can be represented by the equation of y equal to, in some of the we have to use mx plus c, and some of the we can use y equal to bx plus a, where b and a are the constants. And we can set the data point fit the straight line can be measured by calculating the distance between the data point and the line. Now, the total error between the data point and the line is obtained by squaring the distance, then summing the squared value. So that is the some mean of squared error we can find out, and we can check whether the actual output compared with the desired output. And the regression equation is designed to produce the minimum sum of squared error. Minimum sum of squared error means that is the minimize the cost function. The cost function is that if suppose the cost function is 0, then means you are predicting more accurate. The predicting output is accurate. If cost function is some value, that means you are not predicting accurate results. In case of the multiple linear regression, is a relationship between the dependent variable and two or more we can call as an independent variable. So dependent variable is nothing but we can call it as a y, and x is a independent variable, and we can purpose is nothing but prediction, explanation, and theory building. And for two predictor variable, a general formula of multiple regression equation is that y cap equal to b1x1 plus b2x2 plus a. A is the we can call it as a bias, and b1 is the slope. b2 is also slope. Now we can come to the we have to use the what is a polynomial regression. So the polynomial regression is the form of regression analysis which is the relationship between the independent variable x and dependent variable y is modeled on the degree of the polynomial in x. So polynomial regression is considered to be the special case of the multiple linear regression. So if suppose there is an nth degree of polynomials, so we can call it as a polynomial regression. I think that is the discuss in the supervised machine learning by the Professor S.P. Harsa about the polynomial regression. The next is the clustering. The clustering is a part of the unsupervised machine learning algorithm. Clustering is the group of the data into the cluster using the similarity measures. And here we can use the algorithm is the k-means clustering, density-based AM algorithm, hierarchical clustering, and spatial clustering. So when we have to talk about the clustering, it is the group of the data are there, and we have to arrange in the form of the cluster, and all the cluster are equidistant, and in a cluster we have to find the one distance with the help of Euclidean distance, and Euclidean distance should be minimized into a particular cluster. Here we can use the intercluster and intra-class cluster. So inter-class cluster shows the distance between the data point with the cluster center, and meanwhile the intra-class cluster shows the distance between the data point from one cluster of one data point to another cluster in another data point. Here we have to use the cluster methods is that the density based method, hierarchical based method. In a hierarchical, we have to use the again two type. One is a agglomerative, that is a bottom up approach. Another is the divisive approach, which is called as a top down approach. Then partitioning method, grid based approach. The next is this is the part of the clustering we have to use, and we can find this is the color diagram which we indicate, that is the centroid point into each cluster. So it is we have to create the centroid point with the help of Euclidean distance. Now the next part is the application of the clustering. So application of the clustering is the marketing, where we have to use the characterize and discover the customer segmentation for the marketing purpose. In case of biology, it is used to classification among the different species of plants and animals. In libraries, it is used to cluster of different books on the basis of the topics. Insurance, it is used to acknowledge the customers, their policies, and identify the frauds. City planning, it is used to make group of houses and study their values based on the geographical location and other factor present. And in the case of machine learning, we can also identify the earthquake studies. So by the learning of earthquake affected area, we can determine the dangerous zone. So recently, suppose some earthquakes can be happen. We can identify that in a particular region the earthquake may be will be held. So that is the way of machine learning applications. Next is we can come to the parametric versus non-parametric method. Parametric method is that if suppose when we want to find the populations and we want to find the population of the country and we have to know the data, it is called the parametric method. But if we want to find the population of the world and we should don't know the data, it is called the non-parametric methods. So parametric model is assume the probability distribution for the data and the learn parameter from the data. So we have to use the Navi-based classifier and linear regression. A non-parametric model, that is a no fixed number of parameter, and the parameter is also heights, and we have to use the k nearest neighbor and histogram method. Next is the generative versus descriptive model. The generative model is learn the model for generating the data and given some hidden parameter. So that is the learn from the joint probability distribution. And as we have told earlier, in a machine learning is a totally part of the statistical analysis. And if you have to know the statistical analysis and probability in well, then you have to take the very much interest about the machine learning and deep learning. So we have to learn the joint probability distribution, and the example of the generative model is the hidden Markov model, that is the Gaussian mixture model and Navi-based model. In case of descriptive model, we have to learn the dependence of the unobserved variable y on the observed variable x. So it is try to model to separate between the classes and learn the conditional probability distribution. So it is a y for known conditional probability is a x, and here the example of this descriptive model is that logistic regression, support vector machine, and neural networks. So the difference between the generative and descriptive model is that the generative model, it is a learned model from the generating data, and descriptive model learn dependence on unobserved variable y on observed variable x. So some other techniques we have to discuss, that is the association technique. And association technique is used for finding the items or events that often co-occur. For example, grocery items that are usually brought together by a particular customer. Anomaly detection is used, which is to discover the abnormal and unusual cases. For example, it is used to credit card fraud detection. Sequence mining is used for predicting the next event for the instance and the click streams in the websites. And dimensional reduction is the method which is used to reduce the size of the data. So here we can use the pattern classification, that is the principal component analysis in the case of dimensional reduction. Now the next, I have to go through what is a natural intelligence, machine learning, and the type of machine learning and the application. Now the next we have to come to the what are the steps to develop the machine learning model, and what are the steps in which we can build the machine learning model. So the first step is the collection of the data. The collection of data may be, it is the offline data or maybe online data. We can collect the data from the Facebook, Orkut, Twitter, and any video, YouTube streaming data, or we can also collect the offline data. Now, then prepare the input data where we can find the, suppose whenever we have to collect the data and that data are the raw data. So if there is some missing values are there, some of the attributes which are not given the certain value. So prepare the input data, that is our second step. So that is the clean formatting the data. And the step third is that analyze the input data. So analyze the input data is nothing but we can plot the data and finding the features. So that is the analyzing of the input data, or we can call it as analysis of experience input data. Then we can train the algorithm. So that train the algorithm, the meaning is that the run the designed algorithm in training data set. And it is not in the case of the unsupervised learning. And step 5 is that we can test the algorithm. So see what extent it works on the test data. And if the testing is successful, we will use the data and we can try from the other for the model. So now here, this is the basic steps for involving of the building of the machine learning application. Here, when we have to perform the training of the data, we can our data set we can split into the two parts. One is the training data set, another is the testing data set. And normally we have to divide the data set into the 70:30, 70% from the training data set and 30% from the testing data sets. So then we can also use the cross validation. We can use the k-fold cross validation techniques and certain evaluation parameter for the confusion matrix, Gini index. These are we have to evaluate a particular model to whether your model is predict accurate or not. So that is the model development and evolution of the machine learning method. So that is the original test data or original data set. We can divide the original data set as a training and testing data set. So training data set along with the validation test, we have to use the k-fold cross validation, where the two-fold cross validation we can train from the different fold of the data set we can train, and more we can find the accurate results. So it is used the k-fold cross validation also. So training and tune the parameters, some hyperparameter we can tune, and we should evaluate the machine learning algorithm. After the training and validation, we can generate the predictive model, and predictive model finally we can test for the unknown data sets, and that the test data set it is also accurate, then we can final estimate the model accuracy. So the model development is the two-stage process. First stage is the training and validation, which you apply the algorithm to the data, for which you know the outcome of the uncovered pattern between its features and the target variables. Then in turn outcome in the form of the probability success for the classification problems and estimated the average for the regression problem. And finally, we deploy the trained model into the production application or use the insight it uncovers to improve the business process. So that is the ultimate our model development and evaluation of the machine learning model. So now the next part is that the real life use cases. So in the machine learning, when we can talk about the machine learning in the daily life, we have to use somewhere in the else the concept of the machine learning. In Google Alexa is the application of the deep learning, and everyone person should have to use the Alexa. So Alexa is the application of the deep learning. And now in the Facebook facial recognition, the Facebook uses the deep learning application which is called as a deep face, and to teach it to recognize people in photos with a deep face and scoring as a 97% of the score rate compared to the human with the 96%. So that is a good facial recognition is the application, one of them. AI application in the e-commerce. In the pandemic situation, a lot of persons we have to use the online shoppings and chatbot and intelligent product recommender systems. So these all are the application in the day-to-day application. So the chatbot, we can one by one discuss the chatbot and other virtual assistants. So the e-commerce retailers are increasingly tuning towards the chatbot and which are digitally assistant to provide 24/7 support to their online shoppers. And nowadays we have to use also our university in education system when we have to use the chatbot, where if suppose somebody person we want to inquiry about the admission or about the fees structure or about the some information, so that we have to already mention in the chatbot program and automatically it will give the reply. So that is the 24/7 support for the online shoppers or educational institutes or are built in the AI technology. So intelligent product recommendations, that is among the major application of the artificial intelligence in the e-commerce, and they can also personalize the product recommendation for online shopper. Here we cannot move into detail in the recommender system, but when we have to talk about the recommender system, it is also content-based recommendation system, collaborative filtering, how to filter the collaborative, what is the how many number of people they are liking to a particular product. So that is also the application of the artificial intelligence. So for the AI personalization in e-commerce, we have to AI and machine learning in e-commerce is driving important use insight from the generated customer data. And the inventory management, that is, for instance, that AI-enabled tool, you know that Boom Train, which is able to analyze the customer data from multiple touch points, and including the mobile phones, email, and campaigns and website to see how they are perform online interaction. So that is the inventory management. So these are the one of the applications of the AI. Another is the life scale saving and caring application. So that is a chatbot that detects the heart attack, that is called as a Cortis. So the Cortis analyze the word and other information such as the background noise of the call in a real time, learned with the signal to cardiac incident. So if the Cortis determines the factor that indicate the cardiac arrest, it signals the human operate who can advise the caller to begin the CPR, and Cortis identify the non-verbal, we can say sound are important and sift through the background of noise such as sirens. So that is the way we have to use the chatbot, that is detect the heart rate. Another is the waiter servicing AI applications, that is the robot restaurant. The robot is also equipped with a built-in facial recognition technology and can sing a birthday wishes to those celebrating their special day at the restaurant. So these all are the, and another is the humanoid robot, that is the SoftBank robots and Amazon. Next one we have to move in the discuss in details, that is the Amazon robot research, that is a project of the Vesta and domestic robot in development. And another the application of the artificial intelligence is the safety and security applications. In case of the safety and security application, that is a bomb diffusing robot. Due to shortage of time, actually, so I have to just finish this one. Bomb diffusing robot and how the pattern recognition and machine learning to help the public safety department and saving the vehicular accident victims. So these all are the, we can say about the safety and security application where we have to use the concept of artificial intelligence and the machine learning approach. So next is the life-saving and caring applications. Where the right now in the pandemic situation and the COVID-19 cases, we have to also use a lot of application of the machine learning. First, that is that non-contacting service, that is AI-powered robots, which is shielding doctors and nurses from the COVID-19. contact tracing, that is, Israel is using the artificial intelligence to the flag risk COVID-19 patients, and it is also reducing the human error drugging COVID. Uh, and AI is also artificial intelligence is involving in the designing the new drugs, and to reduce the time to developing the target drugs molecules, and to do preclinical and clinical testing from the 3 to 5 years in a matter of months. So that is possible only with the help of the machine learning. So machine learning is not a field of the domain of computer science. It is a multidisciplinary approach. Whether we have to talk about the robotics and we can talk about the mechatronics, it is also used the certain concept of how the robot movement of the arm. We have to certainly use the concept of mechanical engineer, and it is we can use the for a chemical drugs analysis, or we can making the drugs, we can use also for the chemical or chemistry involvement. So it is the multidisciplinary approach for the in the case of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So the world changed drastically in 2021, and intelligent systems are helping us to adopt and survive in it. So summary of the real-time machine learning applications, the recommended systems, that is a suggest similar peoples on the Facebook or LinkedIn or similar movies or books. In case of we have to suggest the similar people based on the content and collaborative filtering, and business application, we can customer segmentation or customer retention and target marketing. In case of the medical application, which is disease diagnosis and designing the new drugs, that is use the medical applications. In case of banking, it is a credit and credit card issues and fraud detections and language translation, text to speech, and vice versa. So these all are the main broadly classify the application between the of the artificial intelligence and the machine learning. Now we have to summarize the session. So what do we learn so far? What is the natural intelligence and artificial intelligence? And we have to discuss about the human brain and how the human brain in which the dendritic zone, axon, and talodendritic zone we have to use, and in similar way we have to use the artificial neural network where the node and age, and we can age assign as a weight, and finally output, that is a summation of y, which is the x1 w1 plus x2 w2 plus x3 w3, like that number of neurons are there. So, and how the machine should be intelligent like a human, and we have to talk about the difference between the natural intelligence and artificial intelligence. Then we have to discuss, we discussed in the difference between the traditional programming approach and machine learning programming approach, and also talk about the evolution of the artificial intelligence and what are the jargons of the AI, machine learning and deep learning, and definition of the ML and deep learning, and what is the necessity of the machine learning in nowadays. And we have to show with the some of the application, real-time application, where we have to use the concept of machine learning. So I think the machine learning concept is used in the every field. It is not just the specific domain of the computer science. It is used in the each field. And type of learning, that is a supervised machine, unsupervised and reinforcement learning. And then next we have to discuss the brief description about the types of algorithms and what are the steps involved to building the machine learning model, and how to evaluate the model with the help of training, test, split, how to validate the model. So I have to just go through the introduction about the artificial intelligence and the machine learning. So what we learned far, if you have any question answer, then please ask. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mukesh sir, for enlightening us by such a knowledgeful information on AI and ML. Dr. Mukesh sir given the explanation of neurons related to human brain and auditory cortex in relation to mechanism to artificial intelligence. He has given different definition of AI and explained about physical symbol system hypothesis related to symbols. He discussed about evolution of artificial intelligence. He talked about advancement of artificial intelligence and explained about machine learning and explained in important terms like task, performance, and experience. He has given the explanation on deep learning, supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement. and types of machine learning algorithms and applications in relation to pre-diagnose of tumor and cancer, and much more things related to AI and ML. I hope this session will be very beneficial to all our participants. Now I request all participants to drop their questions in chat box, or they can raise your hand. We will unmute that participants. So please ask your questions, participants. Participants may drop their questions in chat box, or they can raise their hand. Yes, Narkhede sir. Yes, please unmute Narkhede sir.
Unmuted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please. Yes, Nandkishore sir. You may ask your question. Okay, maybe some issue from Nandkishore sir. Yes, Ajay Chaudhary sir. You may ask your question. Himanish, unmute all these participants.
You can ask if you can give the question in the chat bot, and Hitesh, you can give me the.
Yes, Ram Kumar sir, please carry on.
Yeah, hello sir. Is my voice audible?
Yeah,
yes, audible.
Yeah, this is Ramakrishna here.
Yes, sir.
Actually, sir, I have a doubt like what is the difference between the validation data and test data? As you mentioned, both come from the same, origin data only. So I would like to know what is the main difference between these two and how these are created.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you, participant. I will give the explanation about the training and validation and testing. First of all, we can discuss about the historical data when we have to talk about the historical data in CSV file, and we can train the model. And whenever we have to train the model, and somewhere the line, if suppose the large number of data sets are there, we can assume that the 1 lakhs of data are there, and we can, with the help of training data set, we can split the data set into the two parts, 70 and 30%. And now 70% data we can train and generate the some results. And now we want to find the fine tune of the parameters. So what we have to do, we can use the validation technique. Validation technique, what they can do, it is the, whenever we have to use the 3 validation or n step of validation, we can first train the first 50 data. After the next 50 data we can see, and again we can take the another 50 data. Then next we can check the third 50 data. So whenever we have to fine tune the parameter, so it may be when we have to use after the training along with the validation, the prediction of the result is more accurate. The validation is a separate technique, but when we have to train the data and after the validation, the model will be more accurate after the validation. Are you getting my point, sir?
Sir, actually, my question is specific to like difference between the validation and testing data set.
Yeah, testing data set is that whatever the data set you have to collect from in the form of online or offline, that is a whole data set, raw data. Testing data sets is that we can split into the part of 30% and 70%. 70% testing data, 30% training data. After that 70% testing data is there, we can train with a particular algorithm and we can generate the results. So after that, we will found that result is not accurate, then we have to use the validation techniques. So testing is a different, validation is a different. But to validation of the techniques, we can find our prediction of the actual data. The training is a 70% of the data set. Okay, sir?
So, sir, the testing data belongs to the origin data, or it is separately created, sir?
No, it is from belonging to the original data. The original data. Suppose there is a 1 lakh of table, 1 lakh of data are there. Out of 70,000 data, you can perform for the testing and 30% data. So out of 100%, 30% data for the testing. Okay. So in the training data set, we have to train the model, and after for the unknown parameter, we can test the data. But whenever we have to training and testing we can perform, we can also use the validation, because the reason of the validation is we can validate the data whatever we have to n number of time, because the thing is that, sir, if suppose 1 lakh of data are there and we have to split into the 3 cells like that, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000. First we can train the 20,000 of data. That is 15% of 17% का 10% data अपन ने लिया and we have to train. Now the second 20% data we have to train. Then next 20% data we can train. So that is called as a validation. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Any other candidate who want to ask question? None. Kishore,
Yes, sir. I need to ask the question.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Can
Hi.
you?
I'm audible.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yeah. Audible.
Yes. Yes.
Sir, actually, I want to ask that to increase the accuracy, how we will settle the data between the validation, testing, and training, and what are the difference between if huge data will be there, then how we will use this in deep learning?
Can you repeat, sir? Can you repeat, sir?
Sir, for increase the accuracy, how we will settle the data between training, testing, and validation?
Okay. So to increase the accuracy, we have to use the different models, and I would like to suggest that we have to discuss in the detail in the case of supervised learning, but I have to give the answer in this question. To find the actual the accuracy, the 100% accuracy is not an accurate results. So now concern is that first of all, whenever you have to training and testing splits, to find the accuracy, you have to use the different evaluation techniques. That is the confusion matrix. That is a true, false, false, true. So that we have to discuss in the particular algorithm. At that we have to find out there is a certain evaluation method for the accuracy, how to measure the accuracy of our model. Because whenever we have to train and testing split the data set, and later on we can find out our model is predicted the actual output or not, or mean how much it is accurate. So that we have to discuss the evaluation method, where the evaluation method is the confusion matrix, Gini index. These are the different evaluation methods are there. We can incorporate to identify whether it is a how much accuracy is in the particular model. But to find the better accuracy, whenever we have to first training the data set, and then you can move for the validation. So that is the maximum percentage of chance is there, because it is a probability of the chance is higher. When we have to perform the validation, the accuracy is little bit higher as compared to the training data set. Okay, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.